Good afternoon, and welcome to Our World Hour of Power. Here with Lady Pauline and my co host, Mr. Glenn Greenwich, the Honorable Mayor of Sutton Boulevard. Hi, Glenn, how are you today?
I am doing well, doing well. Another day above ground is a good day, and it's the first day of spring for 2021.
Yes, it is. And I feel alive. I feel good.
Absolutely,
I,
absolutely. And I feel alive and very springy about who our guest is.
oh, yeah,
Claudette
who is it today? What guest do we have?
Claudette Claudette Faison, and she's going to be talking about a touch. And a touch stands for a turned on you creates heaven. So without a further ado, let's have Miss Claudette Faison.
Hi, how are you, Claudette? And welcome to Our World Hour of Power.
Thank you, Lady Pauline, and thank you, Glenn. It's a privilege. I say this whether I'm doing group calls or individual sessions with my clients. And I say this every time, and I tell them it's not a mantra and it's not affirmation, but every time I say it, it's true for me. And so I just want you to know it is a privilege and a pleasure to be with you today. And it's really, I get the privilege of this opportunity. So
Oh,
thank you.
you're quite welcome, and it's going to be a privilege talking with you and hearing all the information that you're going to give our community on exactly what you do and how you do it. So, go
So
ahead,
Claudette,
Glenn.
give us so tell us a little bit. We've invited you here, Women's Month, and you have this fabulous course, and I've heard from some of the women that have participated a great opening. So tell us a little bit about the program.
Okay, I'm going to say the name of the business is Taking Women Higher.
Okay.
And that's
All right.
exactly what we do. But I want to say that what I'm standing on, because Taking Women Higher is my new for-profit business that I launched 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But what I'm standing on is 30 years of working with women and children on six of the seven continents. The only continent I haven't yet worked on is on Antarctica. So that's what I'm standing on, and what I've done for those 33 years in my not-for-profit, which I still have, is I've worked with people to transform the quality of their lives. People would go from being high school dropouts to, junior high school dropouts, literally junior high school dropouts, to ending up years later having their masters in education. Work with women who were in domestic violence shelters or homeless shelter. One lady, I talk about her all the time. She had 6 kids by the time she was 29. There was no one in her family, not her siblings, her cousins, her mother, her grandmother, and so then none before them. None of them ever graduated from high school, not one. And of those 6 kids, one passed away. Um, 4 of them are college graduates. So I've been having the opportunity to work with women on one pole, and those are the women in the margins. And then as I got older and got introduced to um, what was leading me, I've done a lot of work since the 90s on women issues, but I didn't know it was leading me somewhere. And then when I was in Egypt, and went to Egypt, and I went to the temple at Philae, which is the temple of Isis. And everybody, if you know anything about Isis, Isis is the number one deity in the Egyptian stories about nurture and the power of the feminine. And when I was there, I got a message that said, "Teach yo." But I didn't know what the word was. So I said, okay, they trying to tell me to teach yoga. And I'm like, why they want me to teach yoga? Oh, it must be because I'm a little chubby. And if I teach yoga, I'm gonna be thin. And that was in like 2000. And then I learned the word yoni.
Uh-huh.
And when I learned the word yoni, my body went on fire
Oh,
because
wow.
that's what they were me to teach. And so taking women higher is it's a business that actually take women through processes where they can get in touch with the divine feminine. And and I work when I work with taking women higher, I work with a different kind of woman. I work with a woman just like you, Lady Pauline, women who've been very, very successful in life. And successful doesn't just mean working in corporate America. You could be successful because you were um, a great wife and you were the muse to your partner.
Right.
You could be successful because you raised children. You could be successful because you launched businesses and you made it successful in the world.
Well, you
But
know
what
something, Claudette, I always believe in that I have been successful because I've been self reliant. I believe in myself. I always did. And I feel whatever I touch, I can accomplish.
And so I work with those kind of women. And one of the things that what's being called for on the planet right now is for the divine feminine. That for the last 2,000 years, we've been under the patriarchal system. And inside of the patriarchal system, uh, women were burnt as witches. You look at any of the religions that, whether it's Christianity or any of the religions, Muslim, any of the religions, but, I'm going to focus on the Christian religion. And, I went to seminary. So it's not like I'm anti Christian. I went to seminary, but as I read the books and just look at the New Testament, and the two heroes of the New Testaments are John and Jesus. But let's look at what they said about the women in the New Testament. Both Elizabeth, John's mother, was barren, old and barren. Mary was a young virgin, the total opposite of each other. But there was no sexuality there. Mary Magdalene, when they speak about Mary Magdalene, they speak about her like she was a whore or something. And so we've been conditioned under the patriarch to not really be able to tap into the essence of the divine feminine. And in the age that we're in right now, which is the age of Aquarius, in this age, the divine feminine is being born again. And so I work with women who've been successful. And what I notice is we've been very, very successful because we knew how to man up. We knew how to break through, push it out. And every time we manned up, we accomplished a lot. But every time we manned up, something happened to we ourselves began to suppress the divine feminine in us. We was almost as guilty as the Africans that will cut out the clitoris of women. We were being trained not to have pleasure, not to experience the power of the second chakra, our creator chakra. And inside of that, you could just take a look at the world, what has happened to women in relationships. We're responsible for every human being on this planet. We raise the men to be exactly the way they are, and we raise the women. And so the work that I do is back, giving them back to helping them get back to what has been suppressed for over 2,000 years.
And do you feel that it's working? Because I don't know what culture you're actually talking about. Are you talking about on a worldly factor, or you're just talking about the United States? Because depending on what culture your background is, depends on your outlook on life. So can you verify what you're saying?
I'm talking about a global culture. If
Okay.
I've been around the world at least twice, three times, if not.
Okay.
And inside of the so go to any of the traditions, there have never been a, a messiah, a deity, the head of the religion or the cult that has been effeminate.
Right.
So it's a global phenomenon. But that was because we were in a particular age, and that's what we were in the age of Pisces, and that's what happens in the age of Pisces. So I hope you're old enough that the people who are old enough can remember in the 60s, there was the late 60s, early 70s, they launched, the song, this is the age of the
Of
age.
Aquarius.
Of
That was
Aquarius.
the Fifth Dimensions used to sing that song. So yes, I do remember it quite well.
And what that means is every time you're in a different age, it brings in a different energy. So in the age of Aquarius, it's bringing in the energy of the feminine, the energy of the divine feminine, the sacred feminine. And that it was only in 1920 in this country that white women have the opportunity to vote.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it only can begin to happen now because we're moving to this particular age. And the more we're moving into the age of Aquarius, the more it's required for relationships, for balancing the planet. When women come to me, I don't talk this deep. This is
Okay.
after they've worked with me for 4 or 5 times. They come because of relationships. They come because of shame or guilt around their sexuality or their bodies. They come to me because they want more. And what I always tell people, I can work with you on relationship, but the relationship I'm going to work with you on is your relationship with yourself.
Okay.
So, Claudette, one of the things that I want to speak to is that this is not just, well, it's for women, but it's affecting much more than just women. So, talk a little bit about the enrichingness of when a woman now is freer around her sexuality, when she's freer around her divine femininity that you talk about. That that doesn't only impact women; it impacts the world. Would you talk a little bit about some of those impacts? So I
Well,
don't
I
want the
can,
men to feel left out.
yeah, I can tell you that at least 5 men have said to me, if I had known what was going to happen to my partner, my wife, I would have paid for her to do this program myself. And what happens is that the woman, as I said, we've been successful because we know how to man up. You've heard so many women talk about, ain't no man could do nothing for me but, or I could do this by myself, or what do I need you for,
But
or
Claudette, hold it right there. Is there something wrong with that type of thinking? Because I've been thinking that for half my life, basically. You
it's
know,
just that we're not balanced. We're not balanced. Inside of each of us, there we have masculine and feminine energy. The lights doesn't come on without a male socket and a female plug. Like
Okay.
we need to have a balance. I'm not saying you need to uh, you can't be competent, you can't be skillful, but to cut off energy, when we cut off energy, we are unbalanced. And what we see is if it was if it was such a great way to be, we wouldn't have the high rates of divorce. The rates of divorce, the more successful we have become, the more we've been cutting off our men, and or our yeah. I'm gonna say yes. Even when I'm working with same-sex relationships, it's occurring in there because the divine feminine. It's nothing wrong with saying I can count on myself. But to say I don't need somebody, I don't. It's they're not useful. Um, it's we're off balance. One of the things that I am not about is male bashing, because you, just like you have the moon, you have the sun. There's nothing you can have on this planet without polarity. You know, it's like the seesaw. When we were little, if we got on a seesaw and somebody was the heavier one or whatever, and they kept you down, they kept you up or they kept you down, you felt unbalanced. It's the how do we get the equilibrium? Now, here's the thing: what's happening to our children in this unbalance, in this state of unbalance? What are we projecting? What are we projecting to our children, to ourselves? But I just want to I want to get to the fun part. I want to get to the
Is
fun
there a
part.
fun part? Is there a fun part? Okay.
Oh,
The whole
absolutely.
is a big fun part. So that's the philosophy behind. So one of the things that we do, and I'll tell you, we actually get familiar with our bodies, particularly the parts of the bodies that almost everybody wants. You know, everybody always wants I call it pop. You know, the power of the. I don't know if I can say it on your show, but
Yeah,
it's the
you can
power
say
of
it.
the,
You can say
it's the
it.
power
Punani,
of the pussy.
the power of the
The power,
punani.
You
and you
say it,
know it's the
Glenn.
power.
You say it, Glenn, because I want to say something different. I will say
the, pu-
something really bad.
the power of the punani. Okay.
The pussy.
I'm going to say the
Putani.
P. I'm going to say the P. You know what that is?
And you
The power of the
however,
pussy. Did I say that word? Pussy?
that's right. That's what it is. And women don't know they have that. They don't know what the pussy is. They don't know the power of the womb. They don't know the power of the yoni. And if you really study and you go and you discover what is, you know, that area of your life, and men have the same kind of power. But in this section, that's the power session of the second chakra, the second energy center. And if you look up the energy center, what you'll see is this is the area for intimacy, for intuition, for creation. Now, when we are, you know, just going for our head, you know, we want to figure things out. People, we can't feel pleasure. We just got to, and we think pleasure is outside of ourselves. If I get this, I'm going to feel good. If I get this, I'm going to feel good. You're going to feel good for 5 minutes. And then you're going to want something else because you aren't turned on. You are not turned on. And when you're turned on, there's this energy that just begins to feel good. We as women, the more we man up, we forgot about pleasure. And I'm not talking about sex. There's a whole lot of people having sex without pleasure.
True.
There's a
Mm.
whole
Mm-hmm.
lot of people. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about the energy of pleasure. Let's give you an example. Let's say you had two big vats of pots on the stove, very large pots on the stove, and One had a low burning fire, and the other one had the fire was turned up. Which one's going to be ready for the spaghetti faster?
Yeah.
Turned up
Well,
one. Yep.
the title one.
Right. And so the reason we struggle so much and have to man up and have to put so much energy into everything that we do and get tired and get stressful is because we are low burning, no pleasure. We are out there with no pleasure. And what pleasure allows people to do is get turned up, get turned on, and start cooking and start noticing that when you're turned on, things come to you faster. Things you can relax. And what happens what happens when you're turned on, and we can stay in the second chakra, but then we got to get to the fourth chakra. But before I even go to the fourth chakra, I introduce the fifth chakra, which is the larynx, which is people finding their voice. And if you know anything about your body, your second chakra and your fifth chakra, they look exactly alike. That when your yoni, when your pelvic floor is shut, so is your throat. I don't care if you're arrogant, you're loud and something, but somehow your authentic self isn't expressing. Somehow, even when you're yelling and screaming, there's no pleasure in this. The sweetness is gone. And then, yes, then we come back to the fourth chakra, which is your heart. And then in your heart, where is love? But we can't get to the fourth chakra or the fifth chakra or any of the chakras if we don't participate in knowing our yoni, our pussy. One of the things that that I have women do, because I say to women, how are you going to expect a man? How are you going to expect a man to satisfy you and figure out what turns you on, what's pleasurable for you? Like every time there's no one way to, turn all women on. So
Right.
if you have
Right.
a man coming to sleep with you, he's not going to be sleeping with you. He's going to be sleeping with what he thinks you want. And if I work with
History.
so many, I work
But
with
you
so
know,
many.
but Claudette, we've been taught, especially in this society, let's put it like that, that you know, for you to express yourself sexually, a lot of women can't do that. And if they try, they're stopped, because men have a way of, I'm not saying all men, but men have a way of, they're going for themselves, but they don't always ask you, what would you like or anything. So I mean, sometimes you will never find out in your whole lifetime, unfortunately, the G spot.
And yes, and so again, I'm going to say women don't know, and men were doing what they were doing because we've all been conditioned.
Right.
So they weren't conditioned to ask. Even when
Yes.
little girls get their menstrual cycle, no one teaches them about the elements inside of their yoni. No one is teaching them that. No one is teaching them. No one teaches. I'm starting a school called the tent. And in this tent, what we actually do, and we start in the a touch course. I invite women to go home with their mirrors and take the five senses test with their yonis. I want you to
Okay.
touch her. I want you to feel her. I want you to smell her. I want you to taste her. And I want you to see her. And then what we move from there, and women are like, I've never looked at her before. I always thought it was ugly. That's what I'm talking about. Removing the shame and the guilt. It's more than just for even women who have lots of sex and said they were free. What they can know was that but they felt shame and guilt. They didn't want anybody to know, just like women don't want you to know three things. They don't want you to know how much sex they're having or they're not having. They don't want you to know how much they weigh, and they don't want you to know how much money they got in the bank.
All right,
And so
Claudette. Claudette,
We're gonna take
on
a
that note,
pause.
we gotta
We're,
pause, pay a bill.
we'll be right back.
Then I'll figure.
We'll be right back. But first, are you a small business owner looking for solutions? TMI and Partners is a business solution company offering operational, branding, and financial solution. For only $9.99 a month, your company will be assigned a personal business advisor. Well, that's right, only $9.99 per month, no contract, and you're on your way. Call TMI at 347-234-5304. That's 347-234-5304. Or visit their website at tmium.com. Tomorrow, the world will know your business. Is that it, guys? Hello? Did I do good?
Hi, this is attorney Stephen G. James. We've been practicing law at this law firm for over 30 years. I'm a former assistant prosecutor in Kings County and currently a defense attorney to serve you better. We work harder to serve you better. So just call us for the lawyers you can trust. 646-905-9000. 646-905-7001. We're located on Sutphin Boulevard, right near Hillside here in Jamaica, Queens, New York. For over 30 years serving the community. The law firm of Stephen G. James. Thank you.
You made your house a reality. Homeschooling yourself on loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to load their minds. Dare to explore. Dare to STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM.
COVID-19 has hit our community real hard.
We're dying from coronavirus at almost double the national rate.
If we come together, we have the power to save what matters to us, our Black lives.
There's power in protecting your loved ones.
There's power in wearing a mask and social distancing.
There's power in knowing the facts and using your voice.
Let's fight COVID-19. Visit bethepowerofus.org.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
Well, we're back with our conversation. Whew, what a heavy one. My brain is on fire. I love
Bring it down lower. Come down. Come out of the head. Come down. Bring it down.
Bring it down.
Bring it down. Bring it down and have that be on fire.
I would like to take the course.
I
Ooh,
like that.
that's
I like
hot.
that.
That's hot. All right. I'll take the course, honey. I'm taking it.
You come and be my
So,
guest.
Claudette,
You will be my guest.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
That means you will be my guest. I will give you an unpaid seat.
All right. I think I'm going to enjoy it very much because I enjoyed this conversation, and I know our audience is. Glenn, want to continue on?
Well, I just wanted to say, Claudette, um, what I've been hearing and have you pointing to is that you're really having people, um, right now they're in, they're kind of capped off, and you're like uncorking the bottle and allowing them to really get in touch with who they are themselves, um, and their themselves on an energetic level. And uh and I love that as a possibility, because what you're pointing to is a limitlessness that's available to people that they don't even know that they don't even know. So
That's right.
yeah. So continue, please.
Yeah, they don't know, again, the power of the pussy. And I work with women one on one, but I love working with people in what I call gatherings. And why they work, I like working with about 15 women at a time, 8 to 15 women, because we provide the 4 S's: a safe, sacred space for sisterhood. And in the sacred space, the woman is honored and witnessed and seen. What happens when you're in a safe, sacred space with other women, you begin to feel you're not alone. The
Hmm.
shame and guilt. Women have been sexually abused, molested from early on in life, childhood trauma. That gets, I'm not going to tell you that gets 100% healed, but I can tell you we are as sick as our secrets. And when they tell that secret, their energy, the energy that they use to hold together that secret, is released. And so now that energy can be used for creation, creativity. My daughter for the last 20 years, she's been friends with Tarana Birch, who started Me Too. I'm the other end of Me Too. I'm the end that said, Me Too, I took my body back. Me Too, I took my power back. Me Too, I'm allowed to have pleasure. And pleasure is, it could, I teach women, I went out to City Island in the pandemic, and I was with one of my girlfriends, and the food was pretty expensive. It was like almost $40 for the entree. And she said, when the food came, she said, "Oh, this doesn't taste good. This needs more salt." And I just watched her not even have pleasure in the food. She never sent it back. She took it, she said, "I'll fix it when I get home." And I'm working with women to have pleasure now, not when you get home. If that's you paying that kind, I don't care if you're paying 20 cents for something. That's your energy. It should give you pleasure. But we've been trained how to put pleasure in the background and put results and accomplishment and keep pushing. So the energy of the energy just has you move upward into your heart, and you leave there having a sense of, I'm worth it. You leave me accomplishing. I just finished a course last month, and one of the women in the course had a 2.5 year plan to move out of state. And she's been planning this for 3 years. So that's why it was 2.5 years. I want you to know I just finished working on her in January, and I want you to know she signed the lease to the apartment out of state, because now she got that. I'm living in a condition, and I'm living in a neighborhood, and I'm living in a house that's not bringing me any pleasure. I don't have to do this. And so, what was going to take her 2.5 more months, 2.5 more years, in 2.5 months, she relocated because she gets filled up with I'm pleasure. But what's behind that is I'm worth it. I'm
Okay,
worth it.
I agree with what you're saying. It's just that it's sometimes for some women it's very difficult, or I would say even next to impossible, to have those feelings. Because uh, we get so caught up on everyday life. Paying the bills and our children, and we don't even have the time to sit down and think about a simple meal is pleasure, or going on a vacation, or is pleasure, or even something my daughter said to me yesterday. She's going to spend time with the girls. She just had a baby, and she says, I've been in the house for the past 2 months, and it's time for me to go out and interact with her girlfriends. And she said to me, Mom, can you spend some time with the baby? Just give me like a few hours to get in contact with myself, in touch with myself and my friends. So I do understand that a lot of times just that alone can make you feel guilty. Because she was hesitant when she asked me. And I said, yeah, sure, ain't no problem. I'll be there.
And that's exactly right. The level of shame and guilt around pleasure, but we've all have taken airlines, and there's one direction they say, put the mask on your face before you try to assist anyone. And if we're raising children and we raise and have partners, if when I'm not good, you're not good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not
Yeah.
good, you're not good. So I'm bringing peace into relationships. Women are becoming the essence of the softness, and that's bringing peace. Women are learning that the men aren't out to get them. We've all been conditioned. Men have been conditioned to treat women exactly the way they treat women. They didn't wake up today and said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure my wife know I wear the pants. They've been conditioned and taught that. And what women are learning with inside of taking women higher is when I go higher, we all go higher. If I'm raising a daughter, a grandchild, it's now I'm going to break the cycle of being silent. And I'm not talking about silence of pointing fingers, my own silence. I'm going to find my voice. I'm going to be turned on. And in 2019, the Old Magazine had 3 different articles, 3 different times about women and how many women and the power of masturbation. It was in the Old Magazine 3 times, and what they're saying scientifically that masturbating produces releases tension. It moves the energy, the equilibrium. Well, I don't talk about masturbation in my work is because that sounds so hard, and it's so much shame and guilt around masturbation. So I work with women so that they can actually enjoy pleasure baiting. Like, how do we pleasure bait ourselves? And going back to what I was saying before, if I don't know my own body, and my body is more than my clits and my tits, but if I don't know how I want my arms rubbed, or my neck rubbed, or my hair touch, or my head touch, or the back of my knees, if I don't know the points between the anus and the yoni, the vagina hole, if I don't know about the back of my ears, if I don't know how to turn me on, I can't tell you what to do. All I can do is say, that
Well,
didn't feel good. And so women really learn simple things, just simple things like, and I don't know, Glenn, I don't know if men have the same thing, but if you could put your tongue at the point of your tongue, like this is the tip of your tongue, to the roof of your head, and slowly turn that, make a slow motion just with the tip of your tongue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad, I'm sorry, Glad. Glad, what are you thinking right now? You're my male
Well,
partner. What are you thinking?
it's a sensation that I don't always. I've never done that before consciously. I'm sure I've done it before, but I'm getting present to something. So there's something being present, and I think that that's what you're pointing to, Claudette. Being aware, beginning to expand your awareness of pleasure, and as you said, pleasure is not necessarily just sex, but it's about um, energy. It's about knowing your body, about knowing what it is that you like. And the thing that's interesting that you said earlier is it's about being able to communicate that the throat chakra that you pointed to, um, opening that up so that you can begin to speak what it is that you like, what it is that you don't like, what is it that you want. And of course, um, again, I what I hear in that is also the creativity of getting what it is that you want, that you're asking for, that you need, rather than settling for what you get. And well, that's what I got, what I got, and that's it. And you know, too bad.
Don't you
Yeah, and
feel that more than, I would say, 80% of the time that men get what they want? I don't mean to be a male, to be a basher, but I feel that men get what they want and women don't. 9 out of 10 times.
I think men get something that feels good, but I could tell you, when a woman is turned on, what men get is so much better than what they get when we're not.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So when we're turned on energetically and we're ready to play, you know, it's a whole different experience. There's no guilt for the man, the shame and guilt about, oh, how am I going to get her to give it to me? You'll have a full partner when the woman is a full partner in the activity. And I'm just talking about walking down the street holding hands. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about the tone of your voice, the tone of a woman's voice on the man's psyche does something to them. And women, we've been trained to do two things: shut your legs, and shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And
You're
we have
right.
to do that.
Well, you know
And the world
something?
wants us to do it.
I
Men,
never
men really
believed in
want it.
that. I never believed in that. You can't get me to shut my mouth. I know a lot of times men say, Pauline, you're just a little bit too much, and and when they say that, I even talk more. But
And there's a way to talk as long and as much as you want,
mhm.
but there's also a way of being receptive and
Yes.
receiving what they have to say, or and feeling the energy. You know, I had to learn how to feel the energy, not just feeling what's in my gut. My gut is my survival point. So I
Yeah.
can't keep trusting my gut, because that's where all the fear and survival and terror is stored. So I don't trust my gut, but I do trust my yoni. I do know that when I'm working with women, I go, well, how does that feel? When you walk into your dirty bedroom, how does that feel?
Mm.
They don't feel turned on. The yoni isn't flexing. The yoni isn't clapping. The yoni isn't getting wet. There's no sensation. And I say, I want you to get pleasure in your bedroom, in your bathroom, in your kitchen. That means like make it beautiful
Okay.
and see how that feels. So it's not just about, again, it's about being creating an environment of pleasure. And what comes out, anything you put pleasure into expands.
I agree with you because I love my home. You know, I think my first apartment was when I was 20 years old, and I made it very pretty. And I always been a person to like to decorate and have a warm home. It gives me pleasure. It makes me feel comfortable. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. I would like to know, where can a woman get your lessons from? Is it something that you teach? Do you have a place that you teach these courses? Do you have a book? How can as women we get into what you're teaching?
Well, the first place they can go, and you could maybe post it somewhere, to my website, which is Claudette, my name, ClaudetteC.com.
Okay.
That's the easiest place to send people, ClaudetteC.com.
All right. That is wonderful. And how many years have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for 4 years. And what you'll
Okay.
notice, that's me. I love that picture right
Are
there.
you?
Woo,
That's hot. That's hot. Oh,
I
I
want
like
you
the
to
one in
know
the red.
I'm 67 years old. I'll be 67 years old this year. And I have a pole in my bedroom.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Go
But
ahead,
you
girl.
know,
Go ahead.
when I tell people my husband bought me a pole for Christmas, they said he tricked you. He bought himself a pole
The
for
pole.
Christmas.
Okay. That's a
And I
good
didn't
one. I
start
never
pole
heard about.
dancing. Yeah, I didn't start pole dancing until I was 63,
Oh
64.
shit. So there's hope for me. I just turned 65
Yeah,
last week. Yeah. All right.
happy belated birthday. Yeah, so you can find me there. What I would like to offer your the people, your
All the
clients,
Your listeners, our
my
your
listeners.
listeners.
listeners. When you go to the website, you can fill out uh, the how to connect with me, and
Okay.
I'll call you back. And you can connect with me. You could do one-to-one coaching, or you can do a touch, and I recommend that you do a touch. And if you put in there how you were contacted, how you found out about me, if you put the name of this radio station for your first experience with us, you'll get a $50 reduction.
All right. I like
And
that.
the next one will be in 2 weeks,
Okay.
April 2nd and April 3rd, April 8th.
Okay. And
Okay.
when will these classes be? Are they online or in person or what?
They used to be in person, but they're
I like.
online. And
Mhm.
I'm telling you, the sacred space that we produce online, women are getting as much as they got when we were together. And it's even greater because when we were together, let's say I worked in San Jose or I worked in Detroit, or Phoenix or New York, wherever I worked, everyone was from that location. Doing it online, you now begin to have a global support system, whether somebody's in Amsterdam and you're in the Bronx or you're in Queens. So the sisterhood has Zoom. We went from the room to the Zoom, and it has expanded the sisterhood.
Yeah, we're in the Zoom now. That's what I always say.
Do you remember that show when we were like 11 on Channel 13? I'm gonna zoom the zoomer zoom.
Right, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
That was the name of the show, Zoom.
Zooms,
Zoom. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure having you on our World Hour of Power. But before we go off, Glenn, what's going on here in Jamaica, Queens? Tell the audience anything new since you are the mayor of Southern Boulevard. What's going on?
Well, we still have the vaccine centers for testing and for getting the vaccine. York College is one of the locations, Hillcrest High School, and the urgent care on Sutphen Boulevard, 9016 Sutphen Boulevard, for testing. It's a testing site. And then we have uh, another site, MD, MD on Guy Brewer and Jamaica Avenue. So those are the things that are happening. And we're looking forward to getting through this pandemic as best we can.
One thing I wanted to ask you, why is it so difficult to get these vaccinations? Because I have called up like your college and I have a date for like April the 20th. And then I called Creedmoor and it's not, I thought it was this Tuesday that I was going for a vaccination. It's not till next week, Tuesday, which is the 30th. But it's very difficult. All my friends have gotten vaccinated except me. And
Well,
I don't know why some people seem to be able to get it just like that. But I've been waiting and waiting.
the perseverance around the internet. So if you're not like hammering the internet, it seems like it's a little longer. And so I would encourage you just to keep on the lookout. Things are happening, and the vaccines are being made available to our community. So just keep checking.
Okay, and how can
And
people reach you, Glenn?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Claudette. You were going to say something?
I would say, Lady Pauline, when you think of getting the vaccination, just think with it with pleasure and turn on, and you see how fast you'll get that appointment.
Okay,
Law of
so
attraction.
so
Law of
my
attraction.
mind is has to do with my attitude. I guess so. You're right. You're right. I'll have a more
Absolutely.
positive attitude. I'll make some more phone calls and see if I can get the vaccination this week coming up. You
Just
know.
stay turned
Bring that
on.
energy. Bring that energy to you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Glenn,
So
how can people reach you? I forgot
they can
you
reach
didn't
me at
ask.
Sutphen Boulevard, bid 718-291-2110.
All right. And I would like to say you're listening to Our World, Our Power. And don't forget, you can hear us on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Google Play. And don't forget to follow us on social media with Facebook and Instagram and our YouTube channel, Our World Media. Thank you very much for listening to Our World, Our Power this week. Catch you all next week. Have a good week. Take care, everybody.
Thank Claudette.